You believe the theory. So you believe the theory that everybody actually has an element of mental illness.
Yes.
Everybody. You believe that?
Yes.
But it's actually the truth. Everybody has an element of a little bit of mental disorientation. If they push you hard enough, you break. There's this book. Why am I forgetting the title? Like the guy who stayed in the camp. What's his name? In the Nazi camp. There's this book, Man's Search for Meaning. Yeah, he talked about it. Like people break in the camp just because they didn't have any purpose. Like there was nothing they were looking forward to. He stayed and was able to escape the camp because in his mind there was like this ulterior motive of finding like his family, meeting his family after he comes out of the camp. So regardless of how many years he spent in the camp, he never lost his mind. But anybody who stayed in the camp without any purpose, without any vision, looking forward to something they are expecting, will definitely go mad and probably even die. So even death actually even starts from like the lack of purpose. So a lot of people get old and then they lose that sense of purpose, will definitely die early. For some people, even stay in coma for years and they don't die, not because they are better off than people who go into coma or anything and then they die, but the will to just survive, knowing that they have to see their family again, even makes them stay alive. Okay, so my name is Ronald Heselomote. Fafa is a very good friend, like way back. When I used to be a medical laboratory scientist, then I moved from there to becoming a physician assistant. So, but I have a belief that everybody can stay healthy and everybody can be healthy, and it goes beyond like medicine and medications and all that. So I believe in integrative health rather than just looking at one aspect, which is being on medication. And that has been like a philosophy I've carried around for a long time, and it's integrated in everything that I do. So my belief is, apart from just doing medications, there's always an aspect of physical things you need to do, and then that's going to help you stay health and wealth. So that's what I want to discuss with you guys here today. So like as I started off, there's been several research. Like I like reading a lot of research materials because I am into content production and stuff. So I try to look into them. There was like a latest research that came out that tied mental health with physical activities. And what they noticed was like, if you look at all the therapies that has been done, especially like going for counseling and all those things like medication counseling and then group section and therapy and all that, it worked to a certain extent. But the people who they've never trained before, they've never done any physical activity before, they've just been sedentary all their life. And then what they did was that they tried to modernize their treatment plan by adding 2 minutes. Can you guess, like 2 minutes of physical activity in the gym? Like 2 minutes. It didn't take that long, just 2 minutes. Every day, five times a week. Like so 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes for just accumulatively for five days a week. In addition to their treatment, they got better results than the group that just did the counseling, the medications, and the group sessions, just because they started staying active. And one thing that happens is that the moment you are active, there's something that you hear from everybody who goes to the gym, that there's a feel-good hormone that you have, like you feel good. You might not want to go to the gym in the beginning when you woke up, but the fact that you went, the contraction that happens to your muscles, it sends signals to your brain, and then it creates a dopamine effect. That is why, in as much as the gym is good, there are people who develop what we call ego lifting. And then the ego lifting comes into injury people develop. It's not that they wanted to create that, but you are so excited, you are seeing somebody do a lift, and in your mind is like, I can do this thing. And then you try it and probably you fail. But notwithstanding, like what I just want to hammer here is that as long as you add physical activity to whatever you're doing, in terms of like mental health, it's always going to improve. You can't take that away. So things like sleep, nutrition, exercise, connections with family, they all play a role. And those are the things I want us to really hammer on when it comes to like mental health. Sleep. And then we'll talk about activity. And then we talk about nutrition. So nutrition, then we'll be talking about food precisely. Probably we'll talk about supplements as well. And then sleep, activity, nutrition, connection, so social connection. Social connection, so connection, and then you said um okay, you let's discuss. I think this four will be like our foundation pillars, and then yeah, and then okay, then we add the last one, so purpose, what I mentioned from the beginning. But I'll tie that into like all this four. So this will be the five foundations I want us to have our discussion on. So the first one is sleep. So somebody will ask, okay, so when it comes to like mental health, why would sleep be like really important? Now, anybody who is sleep deprived, like even for days continuous, about 5 days, you notice very prominent changes in the person's character. And the first thing you notice is that the person becomes very irritable. Simple things, simple things, like you talk to them about simple things, they never understand. They become very irritable about everything you talk to them about because lack of sleep has a lot of impact on your brain. And it's been recorded that those who actually lack sleep will go on to suffer from things like dementia, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. Like there's a connection. The moment you lack sleep, you are going to suffer from those breakdowns, those breakdowns, because they are all neurological. Now, bringing it back, some people actually go on to suffer from severe depression and then bipolar disorders because you are not sleeping. And if you don't sleep, that means you are not giving the body a chance to repair those chemical processes that happen at night when you are resting. Those damages, because as you go by your day, the body undergoes a lot of inflammation, a lot of stress, a lot of disorders that are so at the cell level that your eyes never see it. You don't ever get to know about it. But your sleep is where those repairs are going to happen. And if you are not giving the body that necessary 8, 9, depending, sleep, you are never going to get those repairs happening. Now, for someone, 6 hours sleep will be the best they need and they'll be fine. But normally the advice is like 8 hours. But the thing is, everybody's different. So you need to know yourself. As an individual of myself, how much sleep do I think I need per night to be okay and to function? Now, sleep deprivation is not anything bad. If you have once or twice within a month or like for a long period, it's fine, because as we go by our life is never going to be perfect. It's not like a straight line. You are going to have days where you sleep well and days you don't sleep well. But my advice here is not to go too long without good enough sleep. Don't deny yourself proper sleep because it's very important. I hope we get that. Does anybody have any question on the sleep? If there's any question, or we should go on. Okay. So then the next one I want to touch on is activity. Activity, I want to lump in with two things. So the first one I want to talk about is resistance training. So resistance training is what will be called like weight training, where you use like weights to move them in motion and then train. So like regularly going to the gym and then using the gym to weight lift, like contracting your muscles and all that. And it's important to weight train for two purposes. The first one is anytime anybody turns age 30, regardless of whether you agree to it or not, you tend to lose your muscle mass. Whether you choose to see it, believe it, it's something that is going to happen to everybody. The moment you turn age 30, you start to lose 1% of your muscle every year. So then each and every year you lose a bit of it. You lose a bit of it. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't train at all, when you lose, it becomes obvious because whilst you're losing your muscle, you are gaining body fat. So then you see a lot of people, by the time they turn 30, 35, you see them starting having pot belly. Some people will argue that I don't drink. A lot of people think it's only people who drink, probably do other lifestyle habits that leads to them having poor belly. But it's not just that. Because as the years goes by, you're losing your muscle mass. And as you're losing your muscle mass, you're gaining fat on top of it. So the ratio is changing. The thing is, for kids, if you don't even feed your child properly, your child will definitely build muscle. They just need a little to build. And they might not do anything, but as they move around, they are building the muscle. So the child will have that flexibility of building any other amount of muscle they can build from 0 to like 29. By 29, 30, you're done. Now you start to decline. So it's like an upward movement, and then you go down. So here, the thing is simple. You have to try as much as possible to weight train, so that when you weight train, in as much as, let's say, you might not technically build any muscle, it's like, I don't want to say you won't build any muscle, but I just want to explain this thing from the context that even though you don't build any muscle within that time frame of your weight training in the gym, you don't also lose the little that you have so fast. You get it? So the benefit is, in as much as you are going to face sarcopenia, whether you like it or not, the goal is to make sure that you train in the gym so that you can retain the little muscle you have on your frame already, so that you don't build that fat. Because the moment you build that fat, you're going to have a lot of problems. And the first one is, you're going to have a lot of issues with your metabolic health, which will then be coupled. It can also put stress on your brain and can lead you to a lot of mental health issues. So you don't want that to happen. So that's one aspect. Now, the second thing is, as you train, you feel good about yourself. It channels in some energy. You are able to make some biochemical reactions that happen that puts your mind at rest. And that is also going to help you sleep well at night. Because as you sit in the office, let's think about it. We sit here for 8 hours based on our time we are working. You barely move. So in your mind, you think you are working, but you're actually not working. Like technically, because you are not doing any physical activities that engages your muscle. Because from evolution, what we know is to move, hunt, and do physical things. We are not used to like sitting down and working behind the decks. So it's important that as you sit and you don't do much, you have to probably find time and then work out in the gym, because that's one way you're going to stimulate your muscles and let them feel some tension. And as you feel those tension, it sends very good chemical hormones to your brain to help activate and then even relax your brain. The next one will be walking. In terms of physical activities.
So are we separating the walking and the resistance training?
Yes.
So what are some of the other side effects of not weight training or resistance training? So you lose muscle. I mean, that can also lead to early onset of stuff like
Diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, and all those things. Yeah,
muscular,
muscular problems. Yeah,
muscular and
orthopedic problems. Yeah, exactly. You are even going to have waist problems, and then you are going to lose the flexibility in your spine, which actually can cause spine issues and then disc disorientation because you are sitting too long. And then one thing is, if you have protruded tummy or you're gaining a lot of body fat, it puts a lot of stress on your lower back, which actually can cause sciatica issues, which which can also lead to joint problems and then even ankle problems. So there's a lot of problems that happen, because one thing is, if you weight train, it corrects your posture a lot. So instead, you see, normally we are advised to walk upright, straight, and then look straight. But technically, the way you are building a lot of fat in your abdominal section, you get slanted. So it's like now, instead of walking chested out, you are just kind of tilted in, which automatically affects your spine and will cause disalignment, and you don't want that to happen. So it's very important to actually weight train. Like weight training has a lot of benefits. Like
how much weight training? What is a decent? I mean, everybody's different, but what's your rule of thumb?
my rule of thumb is that
what kind of weight training?
my-
There's different types of weight training.
yeah,
Low intensity,
a high intensity. But the thing is, for most people who, it's not like you are going for any competition. You are just trying to stay healthy. The best thing is to go on the low intensity side. That's one. Two, at least max 30 minutes every day. Thrice a week will do. At least 3 times a week will do. At least if you are very busy, at least twice a week will do. But at least, so then the twice a week you can increase it to like 45 minutes. Then you do that. Then what happens is that it's also good to have somebody who can design a training program based on what you want out of the gym. If it's for health, rehabilitation, and all that, there are specific design. Because the thing is, for most people who have never really trained before, your risk to injury is very high. So you need someone who is going to guide you, design programs that fit into where you are now in your life in terms of your health, your activity, your mobility, your functionality. They are very important that you have to consider all these factors together so that you can actually make sure that you get the best out of your training. So twice a week, at least 45 minutes, or 3 times a week, at least 25 to 30 minutes will do. And it should be low intensity. I don't really believe in like this high. Nobody's going for any Olympic stuff. So, I mean, you don't need all this high. If you are trying to do any high intensity stuff, then it's more tilted to like you are going for a competition. But I mean, low intensity rate or stuff will do. Now, walking, I separated it is because my focus is on cardiovascular health. If you weight train, yeah, your heart will beat, but not really in like the sense of focus on, even though some people benefit from cardiovascular health, especially when you do it on a high intensity level stuff. But since my advice is on the low intensity, then you need to do something that is more focused on cardiovascular health, like precisely on your heart. So as you walk, your goal should be walking within 8 to 10,000 steps a day. And most of us, our phones can track that for us. It's so easy. Your phone can tell you if you walk or you don't walk. You understand? So as you walk, you get your heart pumping, your pulse rate will go up, your heart will be beating. And as you do that, you get two benefits. It's one way to oxidize fat a lot. So when I say oxidizing of fat, it means that you are breaking through your fat cells so that you can burn them for energy. Because the only way to use body fat as a fuel for yourself is when you're doing low intensity activities. So something like walking is one way to channel, because at the presence of a lot of oxygen, you open up your fat cells to burn them as energy. But if you weight train, some people will think that weight training is good, but you don't burn body fat, because you see a lot of guys who are like very fat and very strong in the gym, but you wonder why is it that they're not losing their body fat? Yeah, because the exercise is not tilted to breaking into your fat cells. You are there to use all the fat and the muscle on you to move the amount of energy with a time frame. But you see, if you walk, because in the presence of the oxygen, you are going to be able to liberate that fat cells and you're going to burn them. So apart from burning a lot of fat with walking, you also help to build your cardiovascular health at its highest peak. You get to do that. So my advice to anybody is that as you sit down for a while, time yourself. Maybe every 30 minutes, just move about. You can do like a little walking. You can use the stairs, go down and come up. And that can be, so accumulatively, by the time the day ends, you would have probably done like 5,000 or 6,000 steps. You might not know, but you will achieve that. And the decks and you're sleepy. You are feeling so sleepy and lethargic. But if you move about a bit and you activate yourself and your heart just beats a bit, it will help you. It will take all the sleepiness away and everything. It will take all of them away. Watch it right now. so for in terms of like mental health, walking is one way to actually help relax you, especially if you are in a state of depression. If you stay in your room alone, you are left to your thoughts alone. And even the fact that you go out and walk, you see people, the sight of people, it helps. And also you get an exposure to the sun as well. And then the sun produces a lot of vitamin D, which you need a lot to help build your brain and your brain cells, and then help with a lot of chemical properties. So coming out, walking will help you, because as you walk, you see a friend, you see somebody, you wave. It's all part of, it ties into what I'm going to talk about, which is the social connection. So it's important that you walk. because as you walk, it helps you to even give your brain other perspective into whatever situation you are trying to deal with that probably will be stressing you out. So walking is very good, apart from just on the physical attributes of walking and then the fat and all that. Mentally, it also helps to ease your brain. Now, the next thing is nutrition, food.
What would you again?
Walking with a mission, you're trying to achieve steps. And as you walk, you might walk just 30 minutes to a place. Know that if you walk back the same 30 minutes, you've just had an hour of walk. And that will be enough steps for you. It's just slow, steady. So you can even be listening to some music or listen to some podcast or something whilst you're walking. And it can be a source of like engaging yourself and doing other things whilst you are doing that. So those can be on weekends.
That by force, you have to go and climb
No, 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 no. Your neighborhood is enough. You don't need to make special reservations for walking. That's why I said that even when you come to the office, you can time yourself. Maybe every 5 minutes, you just try and move about a bit, every 5 minutes. And accumulatively, you can still hit your target for the day. And it'll still give you the same effect. You don't necessarily have to take special days out of your life to do it. And you don't necessarily have to go to the gym and say, I'm going to pay for a gym and walk on treadmill just to get the same effect. You can walk on the street and you get the same benefit. Now, for me, if it comes to treadmill walking and then outside walking is my best choice because treadmill, you're just focused on your walls in the corner and you're doing it. As you walk outside, it puts more strain on you because as you walk, the activities change and you are the one moving your body through motion. But with the treadmill, it's a device that is moving and you're just moving with that pace. So the treadmill doesn't do so much work. The treadmill does all the work and you don't do so much. But if you are walking by yourself, you do so much because you are putting in the effort to move the body. And then as you move, you realize that the topography of the ground is changing. So it's not flat and it's not smooth. It's the pace will change. So you get more from that than walking at a constant pace and walking on the treadmill every time. So for some people, the argument is about for what we are talking about here is more about you being healthy and integrating something into your lifestyle, not trying to do something out of your lifestyle. So you have to make sure that the walking and everything you're doing can be fit into your lifestyle and make it easy for you. So now the next thing is nutrition, where we talk about food. It's when we talk about food, my advice here is very simple. Your goal should be limiting processed foods as much as possible.
processed foods.
So foods that are pre-packaged already, foods that you didn't make them.
Like what?
If you cook rice in your house and you cook stew in your house, it's yours. If you go outside to buy a fast food joint, you go and buy like a food from a fast food place. That to me is processed because the process of making it, they add other ingredients that on the ordinary you will not have in your house and you will not put in your house. You will not put in that food. So something like bread is a processed food, but at least you can limit its consumption. It's not something you have to eat often. Now, if you buy bread from the bakery in your neighborhood, I would say that is a better option than buying bread that has been made at some of these big shops because one, the taste will be different. You notice that bakery bread that you buy from your neighborhood, you buy it 2-3 days, it starts to go bad. It starts to go bad. But if you buy bread from some of this supermarket and stuff, they can lie down for days and they don't go bad because the way they manufacture it, it's designed to withstand a long shelf life, which means that they have stuff in there that are not in your best interest. So you won't want to have them. One of the things I want to mention here is that we consume a lot of margarine in this country, but we mistake it for butter. Am I lying? The way everybody is quiet. Exactly. Like most people don't even know the difference. So margarine is made in a lab. Now you see your face has changed. It's made in a lab because it doesn't come naturally. So the bond that is made is they call it a tri. So it's a trans bond. It's a trans bond. So it's a 3 bond. It's a 3 carbon bond. Now, if you take your butter comes from nature. So the bond is just a double bond, a straight carbon bond. So butter comes from milk, cow milk. So you see them on most times you see them inside the mats, inside a shell with a wrapper on it, and it's always frozen. If you take butter and you put here, you won't come and meet it. Like in the next 30 minutes, everything will melt. But if you take your margarine and you put it here, I'm telling you, you'll come and meet it there. Yeah, the flavor. So what happens is, I mean, as years have been, they've researched into it and found out that the trans bond, your body doesn't recognize it. So it can't break it down. So what it happens is that it leaves it loitering around your system, and then that is what is going to plaque your arteries and then cause most people to suffer from high blood pressure. So some people who actually have high blood pressure and never know where it's coming from, but it's actually coming from the trans fat you are eating, which is the margin that you are consuming.
Like trans fat is not only margarine, it's in so many.
No. It's in so many things. I'll also bring that. You can even make trans fat in your own room when you heat olive oil. So people who use olive oil to cook, you're actually making your own nice trans fat into your body. you see, in your mind, you exactly. So you see, in our mind, we think we are taking good care of ourselves, which is like we are okay. They told me that like olive oil is good, so we should use olive oil to cook. That's what we've been told because it's the better oil, a healthy option. But the thing we need to understand is that olive oil cannot withstand heat. So it's best to consume it as it is. That is why olive oil is one of the things when you place down, no matter the temperature, it never changes. It will never get hard. It will never denature. It will never do anything. It can stay there for as long as possible. But an example is coconut oil. If you leave it under certain temperatures, it will get hard because the fat in there can withstand any amount of heat you give it to it. So it will be the best option of oil to consume when it comes to in cooking food with heat. Now, if you are trying to do your salad and you want a dressing, the olive oil will now be the best option for that because the body can process it even without any heat attached to it. So you get the difference. So you don't have to cook with your olive oil because you are creating trans fat in your own room. You get it. You know. And then if you want something like some spread for yourself, go for butter. Don't go for margarine. And now because of branding and certification, they've allowed them not use the word margarine, so they call it bread spread. So you see nicely market. So now, and they don't even have to tell you how it's made. That's why they don't use anything like transfer. You hear, if you look at the ingredients, you see something like hydrogenated oil. So hydrogenated palm oil and stuff. Those are some of the things they write on it. So these are all marketing and certification ways to the food companies can go behind and then escape some of the liability they owe you by telling you some of the things that are in your food. So when you're giving your children things like cornflakes and then some of this other stuff, they have dyes in there. So there's a dye called E40. I guess I'm actually right? E40 is a dye that is in Cheerios and Cheerios or something, that brand. It actually has a lot of impact on kids' brain. It's been shown to cause them to be hyperactive and hypersensitive. That's why kids can't stay stable because the dye has an effect on their brain from that mental standpoint. So, and if it's having that effect on children, what about you as an adult? Maybe it's also leaking there, it's having an effect on you, probably leading you to suffer from so many stuff. For some people, even they can't sleep after they eat certain foods. So, like nutrition is very important. So, highly processed foods should be something we should be careful about, even feeding our children and even feeding ourselves. Things like sausages, you want to do away with them, because if you look at the wrapping in sausages, they use chicken skins like the flakes. They use chicken skins and then if you look at the ingredient, it doesn't contain a lot of meat. It's more flour, sodium nitrate, and sodium nitrate has a very big impact on your health. You don't want that because it's linked to cancerous people having cancer. So it's very dangerous. So you have to be careful about eating those stuff. So I mean, if you want to eat like some foods, like go for chicken or like eat meat itself, fish or something, because those things are actually going to help you, and that's where supplements come into play. Like fish has a lot of omega-3, and you want that. Choline is an egg. You want that because those are the things that support your brain. As you are talking about mental health, those nutrients are things you need for your brain. So you have to eat those stuff.
How about the misconception people have about egg consumption?
Oh, because we've been told.
Body process only one egg only.
Because we've been told that if you eat too much egg, it's going to lead to cholesterol and it's going to lead to hypertension and all that. But it's never true. It's never true. Please eat as much egg as you want. I actually eat, yeah, because I eat like 10 to 12 eggs. So I'm surprised like when they say that. No, in a day. Yes. Like I break oil into the pan and then just fry it with some nice coconut oil. It won't do anything. It won't do anything. Like I'm a living proof of that. 12 eggs straight. It's not one, 12.
It's because you exercise.
No, it's not about exercise. That's what the thing people think. It's not about just going to the gym because of that. But the egg has a lot of benefits. It's highly nutritious. See, a thing that creates a chicken. Just think about it. One egg, if left to itself, will create a whole organism. What does that tell you? It has all the nutrients to supply to make an organism. So that tells you that it's fully loaded. Multivitamin. So why would you prevent yourself from eating it? You get it. But then also, if you are eating your eggs, don't attach it with so much. People fry the egg with some large tea, Milo. That's what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
You see, now, you see, the thing is not really the egg, it's the sugar problem. Because as you take in large amounts of sugar, because Milo is cocoa powder that has been processed, right? Raw cocoa powder that has been processed. Now, if you actually pour raw cocoa powder into a cup and you add water to it and you taste it, how does it taste? Thank you. Now, if you take a spoons of Milo and you pour water on it and you stir it and you taste it, how does it taste? Thank you. So, what can you guess how much sugar that goes in there just to make it taste the way it tastes for you? And most often, after you drink it, you can see traces of sugar at the base. It's too sugary. And sugar is something you have to really be careful about because it actually damages your arteries. And anybody that actually has diabetes will go on to have complications like glaucoma or kidney damage. So if having high blood sugar is not properly controlled and it leads to a complication, it's damaging your kidneys. It means that the damage doesn't just start from here. It goes through your arteries and there are blood vessel linings inside your kidneys. And you don't want those extra sugars going there because it's going to damage it. Which the moment the arteries are damaged, you're actually going to suffer from hypertension. Because most often, if you find somebody who is diabetic, you are likely to find them also being hypertensive. So these are things that we have to be careful. And excess sugar will cause a lot of hypersensitivity in your brain. And you don't want that happening. So if you really want to put your mind at rest, sugar, exactly. Sugar is something you should go off it. And then even all this Belacqua active, it's not like I'm against anybody, but it's fully loaded with sugar and laced with lemon to make it sweet. No, not the sparkling. They have some active. They call it active. It's not good for you. You are just consuming sugar water. Instead, you see, if you are trying to hydrate yourself, the body needs something for hydration, which is sodium. Because that's the way you hold. They say where salt goes, water follows. You need some place where salt is, which is sodium, to hold on to hydrate you. But if you consume sugar in place of salt, which is glucose, what are you trying to do? You're not hydrating yourself. You are just loading yourself with energy that you don't need. So you still be thirsty and you still be drinking because you've not solved the hydration problem you have, which is water that you need. The body is only sensing glucose. But in your mind, you are drinking water, but it is only glucose that's coming in. Because the body doesn't see things differently like the way you do. Salt water will be best if you need it.
So if you are sick, don't go and drink glucose.
It doesn't solve the problem. Now, think about it. If you ever go to the hospital and then you are put on admission, the drip that they put on you, the saline that they put on you, is salt. It's sodium chloride. So if they put salt on you in the hospital, why would you be drinking glucose in the house to actually help yourself?
So we went to the gym before as like the water I would take in the gym the lacquer it's not.
It's not helping you. It's not even helping.
But if you're going to the gym, you want energy, right? So you're looking for energy to burn lift. So that's when you pack your creatine and those things together.
Exactly, but Belava Active is not creatine. It's not going to supply you that energy. Neither the salt actually even helps for contraction and energy. Salt gives a lot of energy than your glucose. Why people don't know? But we have the idea that you need, if you are exercising, you should take. I've never trained a single day with any energy drink and trust me, I think I lift better than a lot of people who actually train.
Personally, I'll ask you to stay off anything, energy drinks. Kind of stay away from them.
Yeah, because it has a lot of impact on your heart.
It has an impact on your kidneys, and because your kidneys have to filter
All those things.
There's a lot of stuff is in there that's not natural. So if you want to
Really, really get the benefit out of your life.
before you go to, as it will give you energy. You understand?
Or train fasted.
Or train
Yeah,
fasted.
yeah. Just drink water. And after you're done, you just eat. That one is very important, especially if you know that you have a lot of weight. So this is the concept. The fat you have on you is energy. So why do you want any extra energy to actually burn it if the goal is to burn the fat on you? So then if you are actually obese or you're fat and you want the fat to come down, then your first goal is to go to the gym training fasted because you want to find a way to burn off the fat storage you have because fat is just energy for future use. Yeah. You don't understand that fat is, because the body is designed that it saves some energy so that when farming comes, and it doesn't look like the world is ever going to go into a state of farming.
It's simple. It's excess calories.
Yeah. Pizza. So you have to make sure that like you train fasted. And for me, even with the goal of us being here, one of my advice is that we can practice something as simple as intermittent fasting. Where in the morning, simply don't eat your breakfast. So the breakfast ideas we have like your Milo, your Ovaltine, your bread, your egg, take all out. And then at 12 or 11, you can just go for your food, which is like your wache with egg, your wache with meat or rice with meat. Like just skip any breakfast concept. Just take it out. And just practice simple intermittent fasting. Actually, it's going to also help your brain because it's going to help your brain stay focused and steady. And as you don't eat, you are going to burn your fat stores. And as you burn your fat stores, you are going to go into a state of ketosis for a while, which is going to produce a bit of ketones. And the ketones support your brain health. So you want that for yourself. Okay. Okay. So my thought on the fact that breakfast is the first meal, like is the best meal of the day or is the most important meal of the day. So now, if you go to sleep, I want to ask you this question. If you go to sleep, let's say you worked, you like you were so busy, you were working, and you worked to like somewhere around 1 a.m. midnight, and then you went to sleep, and then you woke up at 11 a.m. the next day, and then you eat your wache. What is it? What is your wache called? Thank you. It's just the first meal of the day. So you break a fast. So breakfast idea is just the first meal that comes after you break your fast. Now, if you sleep at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. and then you wake up at 6 a.m., technically you fasted because whilst you were sleeping, you were fasting. You were not eating. So from 10 p.m. when you slept till 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. you woke up is a fasting period. Now, my little advice here is that the intermittent fasting is just making you prolong that already midnight fasting you were doing. So when you wake up, you just prolong it a little bit. So add like an extra 5 hours. So from 6, if you wake up at 6, you decide that, okay, I'm not eating when I woke up, so I'm adding 5 hours. So 6, say 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So at 11, now I am ready to eat my breakfast. So definitely, regardless of however you see it, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But it depends on how you defined it and then the context in which you are looking at it. So intermittent fasting is just an idea or a concept where you are trying to prolong the already fasted state you are in from the night you were sleeping and you woke up. I guess it answers your question and it's clear. Please, are we clear? Does anybody have any more questions? Wait. So with that person, it means that your burn rate or your energy usage rate is higher than your consumption rate. So all is you have to just increase your consumption. That's all.
It's not rocket science.
Like,
No, but for some people it's rocket science. People find it hard to deal with it's rocket science.
It's calories.
yeah.
Calorie intake and outtake. Very simple. So you are burning more than you are consuming.
So you just have to
If you are
find.
burning more than you are consuming, you're in a deficit. If you are consuming more than you are burning, you're in excess. Excess, you build, you have excess calories.
You have fat.
Either you put it, you get fat, or you go to the gym, resistance training, you try to build a muscle. It's very simple.
But like you said, for someone like me, I don't burn a lot of calories because
No,
my work is sedentary. But I don't also gain weight. I lose weight quickly. Like
Because you don't
within 1 week.
Yeah, it means that you actually have like your metabolism is very high. Your burn rate is like very high.
I think he has a consumption problem.
Not an energy. I know it's a consumption problem.
Yes, it's a consumption.
It's a consumption problem.
Because since you are sedentary, you are not moving a lot. So it means you are not eating enough. No, that's what I'm saying. That what you consider his intake, he needs more than that. So it is still a consumption problem. He's not eating the amount his body requires to gain weight.
Bro, you say you the chop, eh? You say you the chop. I wish I would fit carry you go out and you see me if I the chop. You go understand, say you know they eat. You know they eat.
And you see, people like this, and they have days where they undercompensate. So you might see him a day where he's eating a lot. There are days he's under eating without his knowledge.
If you look at,
do you understand?
Human body has an ideal calorie that you need for maintenance. So an average meal is around 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000. Yeah.
2,000 calories.
2001, 2002.
Calories a day, depending on, and that's your maintenance rate.
Yes.
That's to say, if you are consuming 2,000 calories a day, and you are 70 kgs, you maintain 70 kgs.
And you're not moving.
You're not on average, right? So if you're trying to lose weight, you go under that 2,000, or if you're trying to gain weight,
You go beyond that, whatever thing we are looking.
So look at your daily intake of food. From the time you wake up to the time you sleep. What you eat is also very important. The times you eat is also very important. So if you're trying to gain weight, you have to try and make sure that you are hitting that 2,000 and above
on a day-to-day basis.
Basis, consistently.
Yes.
Over time.
Over a period of 3 months or more, 90 days or more. For you to see.
And that's all the change.
Yes. And that's for you to start to see
a change.
And aside that, we have people with what we call adaptive metabolisms. So you can start eating 2,000 calories and you'll be gaining weight if that is separate for you. But after a while, your metabolism adapts. So now you have to increase the calories because When you start eating 2,000, you're gaining. If you started at 70 and you're gaining, at a point you'll be 75. You need to eat to suit a person who is
That's
75.
75, exactly.
You understand? And so the composition of your meals is also important because you don't want to just be gaining fat. We have healthy weight, which is muscle mass, and then we have fat. So you want to be training and eating protein. The composition of the meal is important. Do you understand?
You go chop wache one bowl, or somebody chop carbo plenty.
Yeah, with some one egg on the side.
Exactly.
You are not doing
You are
anything.
just eating carbs and all of that. And
I say you chop 10 eggs.
Exactly.
See, I'm pure muscle.
you understand? And so the thing is, if you can't actually eat a lot of, because carbohydrate is 4 calories per gram. So because of that, you might not be able to eat the large volume you can. So something like this, you should add healthy fats. Peanut butter, 1 scoop alone, just one tablespoon, is almost like 200 calories, depending on how much you scoop it. So, and it's easy to consume. 1 peanut butter spoon, just this, 200 calories is in. Avocado, olive oils, those kind of things. But if you say you're going to be eating bangkun and yam, and you will
That
be
is
full, but
raw.
you're eating very little calories.
That is just raw carbo.
Do you understand what I'm
There's
saying?
nothing there.
Yes. It's just carbo. And that's exactly what Ghanaians eat a lot. And all that.
Carbo.
understand?
We eat a lot of
So
carbo.
for somebody who is struggling to gain weight, add healthy fats to your diet and eat protein and train. Don't just say, oh, I want to gain weight.
And now you
Eat
see
something.
the way they chop.
be gaining
Somebody
fat.
else is also eating. They are not fortunate. They are also gaining fat on
Exactly.
that.
So
So it's
you're actually in a very good spot.
which you can
Somebody
tap.
like
you can make
you can
it.
get lean and build muscle
Muscle.
without a lot of fat. The other people, even when they are weight training, they'll be putting on fat because their metabolism is not good.
It's not good enough.
You understand? So from you, if you start training, even gaining, because gaining weight is a problem for you, your body is prioritizing muscle tissue.
That's
You
what you
understand what I'm
do.
saying? So
So it's more like at the end of the day, you have to be very meticulous, well structured in what you want. Like I said, in this way, if you are not very meticulous and structured and you are not getting that necessary guidance, you do it over
someone
and
to help
over
you.
and over and
that's,
over,
that's essential.
and it's never going to work. It's like you trying to learn a language. On your own, it's difficult. If you get somebody who understands and teaches you, it makes it easier so that it cuts through all the
noise.
and everything, and then you just get to hit the necessary goal. So at the end, one thing I also want to touch is like with the food we talked about, protein should be very important in everything that you do. You need more protein at this age of your life than you can ever imagine. You can't do away. Protein is very important at this point.
When you say protein, is it only animal protein?
No.
Like protein in general, I want to put it in general.
Because I know that there are some vegetarians who claim that they get a lot of protein, plant-based protein, but
Charlie, bro,
Should I
you know something.
Just complete.
You know something I'll say. I don't hold anything against any vegetarian.
yeah.
I don't. But sincerely, the research has proven it. You cannot absorb any plant protein from any grass. It's not going to happen unless you find ways to supplement it. And even with that, you're not going to get the whole essential nutrients you need. Like it's not there in the plant. Now people make arguments that there was this argument I heard from someone saying that see gorillas and then elephant and hippopotamus, they chew grass, but see how big they are. And then we eat meat and see how we are. Bro, when gorilla eats their grass, they lay down, they can regurgitate it again and chew. It goes through, even see goats, ruminants, you see they have different chambers. In your stomach, you just have one lining, it's just one. They have multiple and they can do the chewing over and over and get all the nutrients. So you can't absorb that nutrient, but they can. So what God just made it easy. You can, when they absorb, you just collect it from them. It's simple. So I don't know why we are trying to be all these ethical things and then trying to make like a vegetarian is good. Oh.
there's another argument that it takes longer time for meat to be digested and for the nutrients to be absorbed. So, because the food doesn't take a long time in our system, you don't get to absorb all the nutrients before it goes out.
It's never true. So they did a research recently that even Lenotti was talking about it.
The 100 grams of
Muscle protein synthesis. Like it peaks within like the next hour or two.
Yeah.
It has peaked. You've gotten everything you need within an hour or two.
Please explain.
So when we say muscle protein synthesis, it just shows that how quickly your muscles are going to absorb the protein from the food that you've eaten. So they did experiments with like raw meat, whey protein, casein, there are different types. I mean, and then they put like dye to trace everything that was happening. And within like an hour, the thing has peaked. Like your body has absorbed everything. That was why they even advise that if you weight train right after the gym, you should feed yourself some protein. Because you're actually going to help with the damages you've done to your tissues whilst training, so that you can heal and repair those things rapidly, so that your body can absorb it, because it's going to happen very fast. That's why you see everybody who goes to the gym kind of always on whey protein, because it's like one easy way to get all your protein requirements like very fast, compared to like eating a chunk of meat that you cannot do. So it's never true that if you eat meat, it's going to stay, it's going to take, no.
The whey protein is not processed.
It's processed, but it's pure protein, and you have all the essential aminos. So if so, based on my advice to you that don't eat processed food, that's one processed food I'll tell you to eat.
Yes.
You get the irony? It's one processed food I would advise everybody to do, because it's like it's pure protein and you get everything you take out of it.
Even white rice is processed.
Yeah, definitely, because you remove
white
the
rice is
skin and all that and polished.
Yes. So
Yeah, but my argument is not an argument. My concern about it being processed is because it's not from natural.
But if you don't like, me personally, I don't like whey protein. So if
you don't like it, oh, just stick to your
if you don't like it,
chew meat and your eggs.
bro.
You get it. Even me, that I'm telling you, I don't like it, so I don't take it.
I don't remember the last time I've taken whey.
No, I feel like it's an extra burden. I want to eat my meat and enjoy my eggs. Exactly.
Yeah, one tab is like 1,200.
200 cedis
now
for a tab, and it's like a
one
month.
tab, the 5-pound tab, the big one. It's like 1,200 now.
And
it used to be like 300.
300 exactly.
It's like that's somebody's salary.
I'm telling you, I need somebody's salary to buy a protein.
You know.
So technically, it's not something I would tell people to do. I mean, that can stock me a lot of meat and eggs.
But you see, it's also dependent.
It's preference.
It depends on how you are consuming. Like, for example, you have a problem with eating. So obviously you have it. And the thing is, protein is the most satiating macronutrient. When you eat protein, you're very full. Okay, that's why they say when you want to lose weight, eat protein. The whole idea is it will reduce your calories and you'll be fuller. So someone like you who is struggling to lose weight, to gain weight, you are most likely going to have to buy whey protein to get your protein in, the amount that you need to gain size. Do you understand? Because if you eat, you'll be full. Am I lying? You understand? So exactly. Exactly. So the thing is, you might see him eating a lot, but he's okay, continue. Sorry. Continue.
So like
I want you to talk something small about red oil because you are
palm oil.
palm oil. Okay. As I said earlier, palm oil is very good. I'm not against saturated fat. But if you are someone who already has obesity, heart problems, you are dealing with cardiovascular health, I will advise that you taper down on it. Reduce it. Taper down on saturated fat, because either way, saturated fat also has it has these little issues with cardiovascular problems. So I'm not saying that it's bad, but you would have to limit it if you actually have health problems already. But if you don't have health problems, don't let anybody scare you away from eating palm oil. Charlie, some nice palm oil with ukuma. You go like calm. It's just going to be nice. But so palm oil is good. I mean, it's very good. It has a lot of benefits because you're getting it from the palm plant. And that's why something like even coconut oil is always my go-to oil. Things like sunflower, canola flour, and all that, canola oil is things I don't advise people to be taking because it undergoes a lot of processing, polishing, chemical neutralization of smell and all that. Exactly. The vegetable oils are not good. Even though that is what they market that is good, but it's not. Because that's what they told them, because somebody wants to sell that product. The thing you need to understand, like everything you see online or you see out there, is for somebody's benefit. It's somebody's marketing. The question you need to ask is that, whilst their marketing is to their benefit, what is beneficial to you as well? Because if you don't look at what you also want and you try to make your priorities known to get what you need, everybody will sell something to you, because everything out there is sales. Somebody is doing selling. And they are trying to tell you what is better. Because all this sunflower, all these things, they don't come naturally. It has to be processed. And they have to use polish, dye, chemical neutralizations to get to extract them before they give it to you, and even deodorize them because of the smell. Now, palm oil, coconut oil, it just comes. Even in your house, if you put a coconut plant down for a while, you can even see the oils already manifesting itself. And also has a lot of benefits where you get butyric acid, which actually helps with your gut health. So it's very good to actually eat things like coconut oil.
Yes, I talk about when it's with salt.
Yeah.
I don't go and I beat it
Now, we are not in an era where goiter exists a lot. Goiter doesn't exist a lot. If it does, then I would have said that iodized salt is good because you need the iodine. But then, like the sea salt has a lot of benefits, and goiter is not really like a big deal. So you can always do the sea salt because the sea salt has a lot of minerals that the moment they process the salt, it loses those minerals. So you would want to stick more to the sea salt. I guess it's answered, right? So finally, like as I mentioned, the supplements I want to mention in terms of like food, we are looking at amino acids, you are looking at choline, which I talked about in egg, we are looking at omega-3, you are looking at magnesium, boron, phosphorus, zinc. These are all things you get from your food, and you have to make it a priority because they all support the brain health. So it's important that we eat foods that we make ourselves and they are as natural as possible. So that's what I'll touch on when it comes to like the nutrition. Now, social connection. The people who are antisocial, people don't like going anywhere. It's not good. Oh. Spend time with family. Fafa, you say you've been calling your daughter and you've been complaining. Eh? You were saying it when you call your people. You didn't say it. Yeah, when you come, you can't be calling your family. Don't think that I was coming to say something for you. When you come to work, don't come and call your family. No, but I mean, it's very important to always engage with people. It's not just about work, but I mean, if you have social problems that you can discuss and then share, because there's always somebody out there who has some advice or something. And even calling our family, going to see our mothers and stuff and talking with them, because it really helps. I mean, life is tough. Life is really tough. And life can't be done all by yourself. You need to connect with other people and you need to talk. You have to have social interactions, because social interactions is one way that when you talk, that's why people do therapy and stuff. As you talk about your problem, you realize that the solution comes. People don't know, but if you keep quiet thinking that you can't solve the problem, it's because you haven't spoken to somebody. But if you start speaking about the problem, you realize that your brain is able to connect the dots and then you find the solution to whatever problems you are dealing with. So it's always good to talk, connect, and not just anybody. I mean, like you can't just be talking to just anybody expecting that they understand your problem. Some people, you tell them even your deepest secret and then they go out there the next moment you hear other people saying it. So it's kind of made us want to narrow down. But the goal is to speak to somebody who you can trust and understands what problems you're going through. Because whenever you have a challenge and you don't talk about it, it only burdens your mind. And that can be the starting place for mental disorders. You need to confide in somebody, you need to talk, and you need to have fun, go out, laugh, and have some good time and talk with people. So it's very important, like having social connections and social gatherings and connecting with people. So it's important. I mean, I guess that is something that is easy. And then I'll tie social connection into purpose. Now, for most of us, our purpose will then be connected to like our family and stuff, because you want to work and make ends meet and be able to take care of them and all that. And those are very strong purpose for one to have. That drive is the will to exist, is the will to prevent you from even having mental disorders to begin with. Because when you are there and you don't have any purpose, you are easy to break. You don't have any, it's like you don't even feel excited waking up to life. Waking up every morning and then saying that, okay, I'm going to work and then I'm looking at working, because you are not, it's like you're not living beyond yourself. And it almost puts you in a state of selfishness. You don't want to do that. You have, purpose is always looking beyond your own self and your needs, and then looking after others and then what you can do for others and what you can give to others. So we all have to have our own little purpose that we have in life. For me, my own is to see everybody being healthy as much as possible. Because when you're sick, it's a tough one. Like, illness is one thing when you see, and that is one thing that has never made me so comfortable working in the hospital, because I remember my internship days at 37. I was at the triage, like the emergency unit. When I see people come in like this, it makes me depressed. Like, I can't stand it. Because when I see people lying down all week, almost lifeless, it affects me. So I'd rather want to tell you now things you can do to stay healthy so that you don't get to that point. I'm not saying that we will all live forever, but at least your death should be smooth. It shouldn't be painful. Yeah, you get the warrior death. Like, yeah, I know, because early stages of my life, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, so I know what it means for somebody to really sick, and then you see what they go through. But at least, fortunately, we still have it with us. So at least, it's like a reassurance knowing that everybody can get well if you do the right things. You do them right, you'll be well. You'll be fine. So my little sermon to you all is that let's always have a purpose, because that's one thing that's going to keep the drive in. And that purpose is always tied into social connections. And if you have social connection, then definitely you are going to eat right, because if you sit at the same table with your family and you eat what your family eat, or they eat what you eat, you are definitely going to live and be healthy, which means that you can also have activities like walking, playing with your kids and all that. You can do all those things with them, which means that automatically you're going to have a good sleep, because you're going to put them to sleep. So you see the reverse. So at the end of the day, everything is based on what? It's based on what? So we should all have one. So that's it. And thank you very much for the opportunity to come and speak with you on mental health.
Anybody have any questions?